All right, hi everyone. So let's just give everyone a little bit of time to get on. We'll take a little bit of time. Go grab some coffee or some tea, maybe make it a little bit more enjoyable. Okay, I think it's time to get started. All right, hi. Before we get started on this presentation, let me give you a little introduction to who I am. My name is Taya Mo. I am a senior at South Pasadena High, and I'm also a member of the local Girl Scout troop in the area. This presentation is a part of my Gold Award, which is the highest achievement a Girl Scout can achieve. So thank you all for helping me get here. My entire project is based on the idea of reducing carbon footprint in a household, as you can see on the screen. I chose this topic because climate change and global warming are prevalent topics in our world today, but they are also presented with an urgency and a stress that makes it difficult to want to learn about. However, not fully understanding what climate change and global warming are prevents us from making the changes in our daily lives that can reduce our carbon output. So today, I will be teaching you about climate change, global warming, and the simple solutions that we as individuals can do to help the planet. Alrighty, let's start with the science behind global warming and climate change. First things first, let's think about what you already know. I would like you to write down everything that you know about climate change and global warming. You can think about the causes, the effects, or the solutions. Write down as much as you can, and I will give you 2 minutes. And this can either be in your head or on a piece of paper or on the notes app on your phone, anything that you want. Okay, I'm going to turn off my camera and my audio. So I will see you in 2 minutes. Okay, so that was 2 minutes. Now you can check how much of what you wrote was accurate. Let's get started. Most of you probably have an idea what climate change and global warming are, but we'll do a quick review. Global warming is characterized as a gradual increase in the overall temperature of the Earth's atmosphere, generally attributed to the greenhouse effect caused by increased levels of carbon dioxide, chlorofluorocarbons, excuse me, that's a mouthful, and other pollutants. So this essentially means that our Earth is slowly warming up in temperature as carbon emissions from gas, smoke, carbon dioxide, and other air pollutants trap heat coming from the sun into our atmosphere. So this is a different way to think about it. The Earth is essentially being covered by a heated blanket made of pollution. And as more pollution goes into the blanket, it gets hotter and hotter and hotter. and we're getting hotter too because we're living on the planet. So why did this happen? What caused the warmest years on record to occur so recently? I'm going to give you a minute to think about that. Write what you can think about for that answer. And just think about it in your head. What is the cause of global warming? All right, 1 minute. I'll turn off my audio and my video one more time, and I'll see you in a little bit. All right, so let's get towards this answer. The cause of global warming is attributed to a multitude of things, but a main cause of it is humans and industrialization. Global warming became a more significant problem in the early 1800s, which was the same time as the first industrial revolution. When humans moved towards mass manufacturing via factories instead of in the home, what do you think happened? Carbon emissions went up significantly because of the burning of fossil fuels that it takes to provide energy to these manufacturing plants that were developed. And as technology and new develops increase the lifespan of humans, we have a problem with overpopulation. There are too many people on the planet using the limited resources of the earth. More people puts more demand on food, water, land, and energy. So with a bigger population, there ends up being a bigger carbon output and even more pollution. So what about climate change? Where does that fit in? Let's think about that. Climate change, here's the definition, is a change in global or regional climate patterns attributed largely to the increased levels of atmospheric carbon dioxide produced by the use of fossil fuels. This past year, I'm sure you all have begun to see the difference in our weather. There's more hurricanes, floods, droughts, and fires, all of which can and do have devastating consequences to us and the species that live around us. So, just for a minute, think to yourself right now, have you been experiencing peculiar weather where you're living? Have you noticed that it's suddenly super hot one day and then it's super cold the next day? Just try to analyze that in your brain. Reflect on the past couple of weeks or last couple of years even. 1 minute, one more time. All right, coming on back. So my answer to this question is I definitely have. It's not super fun having to wear a sweatshirt one day and then wearing a tank top the next day. It's not a easy transition, and it's definitely not helpful for people who don't have air conditioning or all these other amenities that other people do. And I also know that in our current situation of September 2021, multiple states are being devastated by Hurricane Ida and Hurricane Larry, and the West Coast is also dealing with multiple fires like the Dixie Fire. But anyways, let's move on. Now that I've gone over the very basics, I'm going to show you a National Geographic video called Climate Change 101 with Bill Nye. This video gives a holistic summary that I think everyone can benefit from watching. Also, I am a fan of Bill Nye, and I really wanted to fit this into the presentation. All right, let's watch this. Okay. And
We hear it so much that it feels like a
all right. Okay. Hold on. Okay. So after watching this video, I know climate change still must seem very daunting, but Bill Nye is correct. When he says that we are a part of the solution, he's correct on that. We as humans have the ability to make decisions that can help the planet. And yes, I know it may be hard to believe, but every person can significantly reduce global carbon emissions. We each have a carbon footprint, and this is the amount of carbon and other fossil fuel emissions an individual releases. Every person has a way to reduce their carbon footprint, and some of those ways are a lot easier than you would think. Okay, moving on though. Let's see.
we hear it so much that it
Okay, so this next activity, I would like you to take 3 minutes for yourself. Use this time to think or write down the main things in your life that you think are increasing your individual carbon emissions. So this could be activities or actions that you partake in, objects around your house, anything that you could think contributes the most to your carbon footprint. Ready? Okay, go. You got 3 minutes. Okay, pulling everyone back in. I hope you had a good little break there. So, first off, we are going to start with the short-term ways to reduce carbon footprint and then into the long-term lifestyle ways. But let's start with the easiest and the quickest tip. So, number one, unplug your unused or not frequently used appliances. I am certain that every single one of you watching this has a lamp, toaster, or some sort of object plugged into an outlet that maybe gets used once a day or once every couple days, who knows. But the simple fact of the matter is that these appliances don't need to stay plugged in. Objects still consume energy even when they're not on, just if they're plugged into an electrical socket. And so the best thing to do is after heating up water or toasting your bagel, just take the plug out and then put it back the next time when you want to use that appliance. That it's as simple as that for this tip. I don't know how else to phrase it. It's simple. Yeah. All right, next one. Turn off the water when brushing your teeth and washing your face. So pumping, treating, and heating water all takes up energy. The more unneeded water you use, the more unneeded energy which is used. And that causes unneeded carbon emissions to be emitted. So the quickest way to combat overusing water is to turn off the sink while you brush your teeth and you wash your face. And this is actually a segue to our next tip. So this one is also simple. Number 3, take shorter showers. Yeah, as I stated before, using more water is not an environmentally sustainable activity. So make sure to limit how long your showers take. Taking 45 minutes with the water turned on in a shower is letting a lot of unnecessary water go down the drain. And I know they're relaxing and they're super fun sometimes, but they're just not good for the water usage and the energy consumption that's going. So shortening showers to 10 or 15 minutes each will conserve water and it'll probably save you money on your water bill. Next slide, let's go. Number 4, turn off lights in an unused room. Since overconsumption of energy makes a larger carbon footprint, you have to be aware of when you're using energy in your home and where that energy is being used. A good rule of thumb is when you leave an unoccupied room, turn the lights off. I try to make it a habit every time I leave, just to, every time I go up to go somewhere else, I try to make it a habit of just turning it off. And obviously I forget sometimes, but trying to remember that and put it into your head will help a lot. So having a light in a room that has nobody in it won't benefit anyone. So it's better to save money on your electricity bill and also reduce energy consumption of your household. Okay. So now let's think about the more long-term ways that you can reduce your carbon footprint and some challenges that you can try for the future. So let's move on. All right, number 1, reduce the use of your car. According to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, transportation was the primary contributor to the US greenhouse gas emissions, accounting for 29%. This is a huge portion of the total emissions. And it also has numerous options for alternatives that release less carbon dioxide. For areas that are only a couple blocks away, opt for walking or biking or skateboarding or roller skating. Those are all really fun and you get exercise. So you're also saving gas, and that's always a plus, especially with the prices going up on gas lately. So for areas that are farther, maybe a commute to work or to another city, try taking the bus or the metro. And who knows, sometimes these options are faster than actually driving because you don't have to think about traffic or having to find parking or having to pay for parking. And here's a challenge. So go 3 days without using a car for transportation. So you can see if you can do this. And also you'll be able to explore the other ways you can get to your desired location without relying on a car. So if you're going to dinner one night to a city that's a couple miles away, you can try this instead and go on a metro instead of using a car. Okay, continuing on. Watch how much water you use. According to the US Environmental Protection Agency, 3% of the US's energy goes towards water usage. So this in turn releases greenhouse gas emissions. And we talked about this before and the shorter term ways to combat this, but it's important to understand. Water is easy to waste. It really is, but the environmental consequences that come from that are vast. And as a challenge for the next 10 days, try limiting your showers to less than 10 minutes. So 10 minutes for 10 days. See how it goes. And if you have families, just see if one of you guys can beat the other. Make it fun. Okay. Number 3, eat less meat. According to the UN, meat and dairy account for 14.5% of global carbon emissions. This is such a large part of our global emissions from only animal products. There are also so many different meat substitutes that are acceptable and yummy alternatives. I've had some, I really like it. But the best way I feel like to start reducing meat consumption is to brand a day as meatless, like meatless Mondays. And then every Monday you go without having any sort of meat or meat or milk or dairy, that sort of thing. And if you want a good challenge, I encourage you to attempt to be vegetarian, pescatarian, or vegan for 1 whole week. And this can also be a challenge within your family or with other families or with other friends. See what happens. Make it fun for yourself. Okay, continuing on. Number 4, reduce how much food you're wasting. Tossing uneaten foods in the trash seems like a harmless action, but according to National Geographic, 7.2 trillion pounds of carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere because of wasted food. Plus, nearly 40% of all food in the United States is wasted or thrown out. And all that food still has to be produced, packaged, and transported with all the other food that's actually being eaten. And so this uses a tremendous amount of energy, plastic, and gas. And all that food is going to the landfill, which is no good for anyone. So knowing this, make sure that you save your leftovers from a restaurant or from a large dinner that you made and give food that you know you're not going to eat to other people. Check with a neighbor if they want some of your leftover pizza. I'm not sure. Try something like that. It could be fun. It's a bonding experience, you know? And my challenge for you is to find a composting center near you and donate a week's worth of collected food scraps. It could be fun, or you could try composting by yourself. Either way. Okay, last one. We're almost there. Number 5, rethink your wardrobe. The fashion industry, especially fast fashion, contributes to 10% of all global carbon emissions. So creating, producing, and mass manufacturing clothes takes water consumption and a lot of energy. And cheaper clothing made of poor material is frequently sent to the landfill after only using it a couple of times because it's poorer quality and it's not made to last a super long time. So that being said, aim to support environmentally sustainable companies, vintage clothing stores, and thrift shops. Also, a quick tip is to wash your clothes on the cold setting of a washing machine to save energy. And the last challenge I will mention is for 2 months, avoid buying from fast fashion companies. do your research and see which ones are environmentally sustainable or not, and then try to go towards the ones that are greener, if that makes sense. So right now, I'm going to share with you an animation that I created, which highlights the key points I just went over. Let's do this.
Are you interested in reducing your carbon footprint but don't know where to start? Here are 5 easy ways to help the environment. Number 1, find alternatives to the family car when getting around. According to studies, transportation is the reason for 29% of US greenhouse gas emissions. Next time you can, walk, bike, or take public transportation to your desired location. Number 2, be careful with the amount of water you use. Pumping, treating, and heating water all takes energy consumption, which in turn releases greenhouse gases. The more unneeded water you use, the more unneeded gas is emitted. Number 3, limit how much meat and dairy you eat. Meat and dairy are common parts of our meals, but they also account for a large portion of global carbon emissions. Number 4, save your leftovers. Nearly 40% of all food in the United States is wasted or thrown out. Uneaten food in landfills releases trillions of pounds of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. To prevent more food going to the landfill, make sure you save your leftovers or give away unwanted foods. And finally, number 5, rethink your wardrobe. The fashion industry is reliant on fast fashion and trends. The energy that is taken to make clothes contributes to 10% of all global carbon emissions each year. Consider getting some of your clothes via thrift stores, vintage clothing, or environmentally sustainable companies. To get more ideas on how to reduce your carbon footprint, check out the following website. Thanks for watching, and best of luck on reducing your carbon footprint.
Okay. One second, I'm going to exit out of this and present my screen one more time. Okay. I hope you guys liked that video. I was really happy to do it for my Gold Award. It's super fun. All right. Oh, no.
Are you in?
Okay. So all the details that I'm including in this webinar can be found at the website provided right on the screen over here. It's www.carbonfootprintgogold.weebly.com. If you go to the site, I've included articles, videos, and products that are geared towards reducing your carbon footprint that I found and I've double checked that are from credible sources. You can also find all the work that I've done for my Gold Award on my Gold Award projects, such as the animation I just showed you, and different flyers and infographics, all about composting and fun environmentally friendly challenges that you can look at. I would love it if you guys could come check that out. It would be fun. Okay, so the last activity, with all this information in your head for 5 minutes, I would like you to write down at least 3 steps that you will commit to on a regular basis to be a part of the change for a better environment. So this can be written on paper, on the notes app, whatever you want. Just have at least 3 main steps and think about how it will change your habits and how it will affect your carbon footprint. Will it decrease it exponentially, or will it be a nice gradual decrease? Okay, 5 minutes. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this webinar and thank you so much for participating. Take what you have learned and think about how you can apply these steps to your daily life. And I hope you do have learned, think you have learned something at least, and apply it. It'll be fun. It'll be a good time. It'll be super awesome. Okay. Have a nice day, everyone. Go enjoy yourselves and be environmentally friendly. Yay.